Good afternoon, and thank you for taking part in the National Kickoff webinar for Crash Responder Safety Week. All participant lines have been muted. This webinar is hosted by the Federal Highway Administration and supported by the National Operations Center of Excellence. The FHWA welcomes participants to enter their name and association in the chat box. Please note that the U.S. government does not endorse products or manufacturers. Next slide. Additionally, this webinar includes presentations by multiple agencies. The views and opinions expressed in the presentations are that of the presenters and do not necessarily reflect those of the FHWA or the U.S. Department of Transportation. Next. This webinar includes a keynote message from the Federal Highway Administration's Director of Operations, Mark Curley, as well as information from national organizations and responders. Towards the close of this webinar, all participants will have the opportunity to sign the National Crash Responder Safety Week Proclamation using the Menti link provided in the chat box or the QR code on this slide. It is now my pleasure to turn it over to Mark Curley to commence the Crash Responder Safety Week National Webinar.
Thank you, Vishali, and welcome everyone. Good afternoon. It's my privilege to welcome you to the 2022 Crash Responder Safety Week National Kickoff webinar. This is year 7 of this important FHWA initiative, supported by our USDOT modal partners, the Traffic Incident Management Executive Leadership Group, and the CRSW National Planning Committee. Crash Responder Safety Week focuses attention on the safety of emergency responders and road users and celebrates our nation's traffic incident management, or TIM, professionals. This group includes both emergency responders and broader railway response coordination teams. TIM professionals representing law enforcement, fire, EMS, public safety, public works, towing, and transportation communities work 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. The truth is that we today know the value of our responders offer in preventing loss of life, injuries, property damage, traffic delays, adverse environmental impacts, and supply chain disruptions. We do not need to remind ourselves of the important role that responders play. Crash Responder Safety Week gives us another reason to connect with our community, to emphasize the importance of coordinated, well-trained approach to traffic incident response. It is also a unique opportunity to share important information with all road users, whether motorists, cyclists, pedestrians, or other modal users. That is, to respect our roadside heroes by slowing down, moving over, and staying alert when approaching traffic incidents. I want to also emphasize today that CRSW and the broader Traffic Incident Management Program are integral to the USDOT's National Railway Safety Strategy introduced by Secretary Buttigieg earlier this year. The National Railway Safety Strategy, or NRSS, adopts a safe systems approach, recognizing the need to design and operate transportation systems to prevent deaths and mitigate injury severity. We recognize that TIM is critical to post-crash care and a key safe systems objective. I am pleased to share that our TIM program, in execution of the NRSS, will be developing and implementing an outreach plan for EMS personnel for on-scene safety and traffic incident training. Our TIM program will also be promoting advanced TIM technologies targeted at improved all responder and motorist safety. You'll hear more about this later today in the webinar. In previous Crash Responder Safety Week kickoff events, we have spoken to the upward year-over-year trend in deaths among traffic incident response communities. This week, we recognize and honor those who have made the ultimate sacrifice in the line of duty They remind us of the importance of outreach to save lives. An unknown number of responders are injured in ways that are often life-changing and career-ending. This week, we recognize and honor those who have been injured in the service of others. They remind us of the importance of outreach to protect our community. During this Crash Responder Safety Week, we are not focusing on making a numbers-based case. Each death, each injury is one too many. This year, we are asking the motoring public to respect our roadside heroes, and we are mobilizing responders and people they have helped to tell their stories to help make the case. We reached millions last year with our campaign. Next year, whenever road users come across the scene of a traffic incident, we want motorists to remember specific faces and their specific stories of risk they took and the lives they changed. In the background, behind campaigns like this, the Federal Highway Administration continues to work with each of you to push for efficient detection, response, and removal of incidents on our nation's roads. FHWA, NHTSA, and the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration are committed to working with every responder community to bring down the number of responders that are injured or killed in a line of duty. So Crash Responder Safety Week also includes information about enhanced training and preparedness for incident responders, but strong TIM committee and advanced TIM practices, and about better data collection and analysis surrounding responder injuries and deaths. NHTSA and FHWA continue to work together with our law enforcement, fire, and EMS, towing, transportation, and public works partners in state highway safety offices to increase driver awareness of move-over laws and to highlight the need to protect responders who place themselves at risk to protect and assist motorists. This is also a key message we will promote. My sincere thanks to every responder and response leader making this commitment today to amplifying Crash Responder Safety Week and putting your lives on the line every day for each of us. This year, let's make sure the story of our work is louder than ever.
Thank you, Mark. Now we'll turn it over to Jim Ostrich. Jim, are you on? I think Jim is having technical difficulties, so let me go ahead and.
I'm fine. I'm fine, Michelle. Thank you.
Perfect.
It was just hitting the buttons, camera and the mute. So I'm not sure. Can you see me?
No.
Huh, that's interesting.
So
So
feel free to go ahead.
yeah. Okay.
I can
Well,
see you, Jim.
You can see it, Jim.
Okay. My laptop doesn't say so, but thanks, Joe and Paul. And thank you, Mark. Making the story of our work heard is indeed an integral part of Crash Responder Safety Week, CRSW. This is why the FHWA initiated the National Planning Committee for CRSW last year. Along with the Federal Highway Administration, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, the National Planning Committee includes 12 associations listed herein. The committee includes representatives from law enforcement, fire, rescue, EMS, public works, towing, recovery, and transportation agencies, both an executive and a communications staff member. The committee collaborates throughout the year to define an annual theme and to organize unified messaging for each day of Crash Responder Safety Week. Associations within the planning committee also deliver in advance of CRSW with full force. They do this through newsletters and other publications, through web presence, and by crafting outreach products that their members can use during CRSW. They also deliver executive messaging during CRSW and promote CRSW using social media and mass media. I want to thank the National Committee for their creativity and commitment to promoting responder safety through TIM responder training and to promoting road user attention to keep all responders safe while working on the road. Today, we are pleased to have 5 members of the National Planning Committee present to you the day of the week themes for this year's Crash Responder Safety Week. Each will also share a little bit about their association and how they commemorate CRSW. For those in attendance during today's webinar, I encourage you and your agencies to use the FHWA social media outreach toolkit to mirror the CRSW social media efforts shared by our National Planning Committee. The toolkit link is in the chat pod. When you access this FHWA site, you will be able to download the CRSW flyer, a customizable press release, sample tweets, and other resources. But first, for today's, I'd like to introduce Chief Kevin Quinn, who will present today's theme. Chief Quinn is the National Volunteer Fire Council's first vice chair and on the National Fallen Firefighters Foundation Board. He recently retired as a deputy chief of the Union Fire District in South Kingstown, Rhode Island, and returns to actively responding to fires and alarms with his original Union Fire District Station number 3. Chief Quinn, welcome.
Thank you, Jim. It's truly an honor to work with you and your team and Mark and our sister fire service organizations, the International Association of Firefighters, the International Association of Fire Chiefs, to kick off Crash Responder Safety Week. This tribute to our fallen and all of our partners. Today's theme, respect for our roadside heroes. The National Volunteer Fire Council represents the nation's more than 677,000 volunteer firefighters, EMS providers, and rescue personnel. We provide resources, advocacy, education, and programs to help volunteer emergency responders thrive. Our mission is to serve the fire and emergency services community, just like our sister organizations here today to kick off the Crash Responder Safety Week, the International Association of Fire Chiefs, and the International Association of Firefighters. As a chief officer, I pride myself in being a numbers guy. By the numbers, we are killing far too many emergency responders on our nation's roadways, 40 thus far this year. My message today is respect our roadside heroes. The health and safety of emergency responders is a critical priority for all 3 organizations. This includes making sure all responders come home or go back to their station after each incident. While working to save lives and provide quick, safe clearance at roadway incidents, responders themselves are at risk of being struck by a passing vehicle, resulting in injuries and deaths. These struck by incidents are tragic, especially given the fact that they are avoidable if drivers respect our roadside heroes and take care when passing roadway incidents. The respect of our roadside heroes theme is critical. There are over 12,000 roadway incidents each day in the United States, and the public needs to be aware of that role that they play in protecting the men and women who respond to these incidents. The fire service organizations are using this week to raise awareness among the public and to work with responders to do at roadway incidents the importance of slowing down, moving over, and staying alert when passing an emergency scene. We are also promoting free training to prepare emergency responders to be ready for roadway incidents through proper traffic incident management, or TIM. We are doing this today through press releases, video messaging, social media posts, webinars, and the signing of the Crash Responder Safety Week proclamation. Our sister organization, the International Association of Firefighters, has made it easy for every firefighter to participate. Visit the IAFF Crash Responder Safety Week site for graphics and social media posts. We ask our fellow firefighters and every traffic incident responder to take part in the CRSW. Today, we want every responder to share your roadside story or testimony via social media. Focus on your role in clearing roadway incidents and the risk you take while doing so. Help all road users understand your story and connect with you. Get your story out there today. I thank you for your diligence. Remain safe out there. Thank you so much.
Chief Quinn, thank you very much for those extremely important remarks, sir. Thank you. And thank you for your service. Next, I'd like to introduce Dia Gaynor. Dia is the Executive Director of the National Association of State EMS Officials. Forgot to mention just really quickly that the 3 fire associations taking part in the National Planning Committee, fire responders are great partners for incident response. And as Chief Quinn noted, over 600,000 volunteer firefighters and over 300,000 International Association of Firefighter members. And in the last decade, 255,000 fire and rescue professionals have been TIN trained. Let's work to have every fire responder trained far more quickly. So back to Dia. I'd like to introduce Dia Gaynor. Dia, again, is the Executive Director of NASEMSO. Dia began her career as a field paramedic and firefighter. She later served as Idaho's State EMS Director for 19 years and received the Idaho Distinguished Service Medal, the highest award the Idaho Military Division bestows upon a civilian. Ms. Gaynor is currently the Executive Director for the National Association of State EMS Officials, also having served as NASEMSO's president. Over to you, Dia.
Thank you, Jim, and welcome everyone. This is such an important focus on crash responder safety. It is really essential to all responders going home safe. So the National Association of State EMS Officials are the state agency personnel who regulate ambulance services and other EMS agencies. They license EMTs and paramedics and engineer systems of care for time-sensitive emergencies, including the most sophisticated of which is post-crash care and trauma systems. But traffic incident management is essential to every paramedic and EMTs and all other roadway responders' safety when working at roadway-based incidents. If a paramedic or EMT or other emergency responder is injured at a roadway incident, patient care for the original victim is compromised, and it creates a second and possibly overwhelming additional emergency to deal with. NASEMSO addresses traffic incident management related opportunities at every one of its Highway Incident and Transportation Systems Committee, as well as other related topics, because scene safety is always the highest priority that's taught on the first day of every class, from EMT through paramedic. State EMS offices are making a difference. While COVID certainly delayed some of them focusing on core regulatory issues, the states of Georgia and Texas have taken enormous steps to making TIM training a component, a required component of every EMT and paramedic class that occurs in the state. Plus, when they implemented the requirement in 2018, every existing EMT or paramedic had to complete TIM training by March of 2022. So there's a shining example of statewide implementation of TIM as part of not only the education, but the culture of EMS statewide. Next. So our theme for tomorrow is responder training. And what we wanted to take the opportunity to reinforce on this webinar today is even if you yourself got TIM trained one or more times, it should be part of the standing conversation with every fellow responder. Have you taken the TIM training? Use all your social media outlets to encourage your coworkers and colleagues across your region, the state, the nation, to take the national course. And most importantly, our best resources are among the educators and trainers among you. If you're already experienced in that domain, consider becoming a TIM trainer. Next. In addition to the outreach we do to our own members, who in turn can reach every ambulance service and other licensed EMS agency in their state, we take advantage of social media, and we'll be tweeting tomorrow on behalf of you, your family, your fellow on-scene responders, and all road users to message that every week a responder is killed while helping clear a roadway-related incident. Many more sustain life-altering injuries. NASEMSO encourages all responders to take the free traffic incident management training. Hashtag roadside heroes. We encourage you to do the same. Thank you.
And thank you, Dia, so much for all you do. As well as NEMSMA. Let me not forget your sister or partner association, NEMSMA being the National EMS Management Association. For contributing to CRSW messaging, we encourage every responder access and complete the free 4-hour national TIM training accessible online through FHWA's National Highway Institute and delivered in person through each state's training coordinator. Next, I am pleased to introduce James Jennings. James is the 4th Vice President for the Towing Recovery Association of America, TRAA. He is the founder of Towers with Heart Incorporated, promoting move-over laws and responder remembrances for those injured and struck by distracted drivers. He was awarded the Tow Times Industry Champion Award for his efforts in Slow Down, Move Over. Over to you, Jim.
Well, good afternoon, James. Thank you very much for that introduction, and good afternoon, everyone. And on behalf of the Board of Directors of Towers with Towing Recovery Association of America and all of our statewide associate members and partners, I just wanted to thank everyone for recognizing the towing profession to be part of this week, of this Crash Responders Week. Next slide, please. Roadside heroes playing critical part and critical role in what we do each and every day. And I'd like to recognize the crash responder safety workers during Crash Responder Safety Week. We all know that those are the men and women that are out there daily, each and every day, whether it's law enforcement, fire rescue, towing, road rangers, and any of the other partners that are out there with us. You know, you think about a hero. What is a hero? A hero is someone that goes above and beyond many times at the cost of their own health and safety and at the cost of their own lives to do what? To help a friend, but also many times just to help a stranger. And that's what all of our roadside heroes do in all of our professions, and we need to recognize them. And I think the best way that we can recognize them is by promoting safety during Crash Responder Safety Week. Next slide, please. Wednesday's theme is going to be Slow Down, Move Over. And as you all know, all 50 states and the District of Columbia have move over laws. And as we all know, there's a lot of work that needs to be done to make sure that everyone that is out there on the highways understands what the move over laws are, because as we know, they don't. And regrettably, on the towing side of the crash responder workers, we're still losing about 1 tow operator every 6 days on the side of the nation's highways. And that number regrettably does not count the people that are injured. As we all know, we're all struggling to quantify the struck by numbers. On the towing recovery side, just since August 29th, we've lost 4 towing operators. And, you know, TRA shares the goal of 0 operator life. while performing their duties. I think that's something that we all strive for. And at the Towing and Recovery Hall of Fame and Museum in Chattanooga, Tennessee, we have the Towing Museum there, but we also have the Wall of the Fallen. And on October the 8th, we were recognizing 27 names from the previous year that were added to the wall. And those are the only the names of the people that, you know, wanted to honor their loved ones on the wall. But on October 8th, on that very day, we had 2 operators struck and killed. One in Tennessee, one in Pennsylvania and one in Florida, not too far from my home here. And so while our ceremony was going on, we lost 2 tow operators. And since on August 29th, we lost a gentleman, and we lost a gentleman last Thursday morning in Orlando during the hurricane that was passing through. So, you know, we all need to do our part. We all need to outreach, and we all need to talk to those people that are out there, the distracted drivers, the dumb drivers, from traffic incident management training. So let's get out there and reach these people. We need to talk to them. We need to reach them. We need to reach them through social media, through our campaigns. And Tow and Recovery Association of America is doing that very thing. So we're going to be reaching out to our association, our statewide association members, to get the word out on Wednesday through social media campaigns, through the toolbox, through phone calls, and to get everyone that's out there to promote this Crash Responder Safety Week, and to make it a clear and concise message that we cannot keep losing tow operators and other crash safety workers out there on these highways. This year, Tow and Recovery Association of America has been instrumental in getting the resolution passed through with the help of different people on the bipartisan congressional effort. So through legislation, TRA was able to reference Crash Responder Safety Week in the Senate version of the National Move Over Law Day resolution. TRA encourages all statewide association members to get out the message during Crash Responder Safety Week. We're sharing the content. We're encouraging each one of our members to get a proclamation from their governor recognizing Crash Responder Safety Week, because that is crucial to our combined industries. And through education, we're sharing the message with everyone. Traffic incident management, Sharp 2 training programs are a big part of what TRAA likes to share to their statewide association partners, all of our members. And in closing, I would just like to thank everyone who's on here today, and please get the message out that we need to recognize Crash Responder Safety Week. Thank you.
Yes, indeed, Jim. And thank you and TRAA for championing efforts promoting move over laws that are inclusive of all responders, and for promoting their awareness among road users. During this week, many states' DOTs will be using their highway changeable message signs to increase road user awareness and to move over for all responders. This Wednesday, National Crash Responder Safety Week Committee, the National CRSW Committee, encourages all responders and response agencies to use social media to promote awareness of these laws. And be sure to use the hashtag Roadside Heroes. Let's see. Next up, we have Mr. David Bergner with APWA, the American Public Works Association. And David will be covering Thursday's theme. And he is representative. He is on our executive leadership group. And Dave is a retired public works superintendent and was a member of APWA's Emergency Management Committee. Dave authored the TIM chapter for the Public Works Incident Management Manual. Welcome, and over to you, Dave.
Thank you, Jim. American Public Works Association is proud to be a member of the TIM Executive Leadership Group, and we're also very pleased to be a participant in this week's Crash Responder Safety Week. The Thursday theme, More Than a Crash, is really important to us because our tweets will highlight that traffic incidents include roadway debris, hazmat spills, stalled vehicles, traffic signal malfunctions, sign damage, emergency roadway repair, natural disasters, and more. Thus, road users must remain alert to all roadway incidents and responders, including public work personnel. And as you see, our president, Keith Pugh, has a video posted on YouTube, and there's the link below, and we'll post that in the chat box later. It's about a 2-minute video about promoting Crash Responder Safety Week. Next. As you can see by these illustrations, these are a number of different incidents and emergencies that occur almost on a daily basis that we're involved in. Public Works personnel respond to such incidents during the workday, as well as weekends, nights, and holidays. It's 24/7 for us, and we're always available to help out our other disciplines. Next. Traffic incident management is based upon the incident command system, which has protocols for communication coordination among police, fire, public works, and the other disciplines. Public works, the local public works agencies, as well as the state DOTs, require ICS training for roadway workers and others. APWA supports, encourages, and provides the TIM training for its members at no cost, and also welcomes members from other disciplines to participate as well. Having all them disciplines together at the training helps to improve that kind of communication and coordination when incidents really do occur. Next. Basic to traffic incident management is also work zone traffic control. Work zone traffic control training is mandatory in all public works agencies, and temporary traffic control is a standard routine on a daily basis for us. Thus, public works personnel are experienced with roadway emergency situations. The policies, procedures, vehicles, and the traffic control devices used in traffic incident management are basically the same as those for our normal work zone traffic control. You can read more about the specifics regarding traffic incident management and the procedures and practices in Chapter 6I of the Manual of Uniform Traffic Control Devices. It should be noted that 77% of the public roads are under municipal and county control, and 19% are under state control. Next. So respect our roadside heroes. Department of Public Works, as well as state DOT personnel, are exposed to hazardous traffic every day, as you see there by the illustrations below. Many field personnel have been injured or killed while working on roadways. Next. So again, emphasizing the Thursday tweets. Here are a couple samples. APWA and USDOT are working together during Crash Responder Safety Week to thank responders at incident scenes who risk their lives protecting and saving others. Traffic incident responders have your back. You have theirs. APWA also, with the Crash Responder Safety Week, emphasized that it's more than roadway crashes. Stay alert for stalled vehicles, roadway repairs, debris and flooding on the road, damaged traffic signals, signs and lighting, and more. Traffic incident responders have your back, and do you have theirs? Above all, protect workers, give workers extra room, slow down as you approach, and be prepared to stop. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave, and the American Public Works Association. There are approximately 4 million roadway crashes annually, but this number is the tip of the iceberg when we think about all the roadway incidents managed by responders, many singularly by public works professionals. The National Planning Committee for CRSW encourages responders to use this Thursday to educate the public about what constitutes a traffic incident, as David was describing, and that they must remain alert for all roadway incidents and incident responders. Next, I'd like to introduce Keith Williams. Keith is the Chief of the Enforcement and Justice Services Division at the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, NHTSA. Under his direction, the division provides national leadership in planning and developing improved driver education, licensing, enforcement, and related efforts. Mr. Williams previously worked for the FHWA Office of Safety, and prior to federal service Mr. Williams spent 25 years in law enforcement, retiring as a commander from the Anne Arundel County, Maryland Police Department. Welcome, Keith, and over to you.
Thank you, Jim, and it's a pleasure to be here on behalf of NHTSA in support of Crash Responder Safety Week. And thank you to all the first responders across the nation for the important work you do in helping keep our highways safe. In support of our first responders and CRSW, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration has committed over $5 million in the last 2.5 years to conduct research to better understand and develop countermeasures to prevent crashes involving the nation's first responders. This work has included data improvements to the National Center for Statistics and Analysis Fatality Analysis Reporting System to ensure we have accurate and informed data on fatal crashes involving all first responder types. Improvements have also been added to the first responder data elements in the Model Minimum Uniform Crash Criteria, a guide to help states and law enforcement collect accurate crash data. The bipartisan infrastructure law established new grant programs to help states improve awareness and compliance with move-over laws and to improve crash data and analysis. Under the National Roadway Safety Strategy and the Safe System Approach, NHTSA is tasked with conducting behavioral safety research and developing onboard vehicle safety technologies to ensure that American road users have equitable and adequate access to a safe and efficient transportation system, including the ability to safely navigate incident scenes. Next slide. NHTSA offers a host of communication assets for first responder safety on our website, trafficsafetymarketing.gov. We'll help you go there and check out those assets for use in your own jurisdictions. NHTSA supports driver education through national standards by including information on how to educate young novice drivers about their responsibility to appropriately navigate work zone and incident scenes. This is the theme for Friday's CRSW activities. In fact, one of the top 10 questions asked on driver license tests at motor vehicle administrations when young people go to get their driver's license is a question about responsibility and move-over laws. To respect our roadside heroes, NHTSA will be releasing social media tweets in support of CRSW on Wednesday and Friday this week. Back to you, Jim.
Thank you, Keith. And thanks to NHTSA, our FHWA partners, for CRSW, responder research, and many other TIM-related efforts. The link to NHTSA's marketing materials is shared through the chat pod. Once again, thank you so much, Keith, for being a great partner. This concludes the 5-day unified messaging for Crash Responder Safety Week. We look forward to seeing your tweets, videos, news articles, and other messaging to commemorate this week. Be sure to use the hashtag Roadside Heroes. And again, if you're looking for what to message each day, be sure to visit the FHWA CRSW Champion Toolkit. So our next speaker is Bob Bemis, a Marine veteran and retired Pennsylvania State Police Sergeant with over 30 years in law enforcement. In March of 2015, Sergeant Bemis was severely injured in a struck-by incident while assisting a disabled motorist. Today, we are honored to have Sergeant Bemis share his story, also captured in his book, Forged in Scars and Stripes, a trooper's victory over critical injury. Over to you, Sergeant.
Hello, and thank you very much. I want to thank my friends, Jim and Paul, with the Federal Highway Administration for inviting me to participate in Crash Responder Safety Week. It's a privilege to be an advocate for responders everywhere and to say a few words about roadway safety. On March 27th, 2015, I gained membership into a pretty exclusive club. It's not one that you want to join, and the emission standards are tougher than you can imagine. Once you're in, can't ever quit. There's no membership card, but sometimes you could spot a member just by looking at him or her. We don't hold meetings, yet I think it's safe to say that we all agree on one thing. We don't want any more members. Not one more. Let me tell you about my induction ceremony. On that Friday afternoon, I was on duty, traveling on an interstate highway in eastern Pennsylvania, in transit back to my assignment as a training supervisor at the Pennsylvania State Police Academy in Hershey. I observed a vehicle that had been towing a second vehicle parked along the berm of the highway. While driving on the highway, the operator had experienced a mechanical issue and stopped along the berm, at which point the vehicle caught fire. A few moments later, I stopped my unmarked police car on the berm behind the towing operation. I retrieved the fire extinguisher from the trunk of my car and began walking along the guide rail in the direction of the fire. Smoke from the flames was now covering the roadway. As vehicles approaching the scene applied their brakes and steered to avoid going into the smoke or colliding with one another, an SUV lost control, traveled off the roadway, struck the guide rail, and continued into my police car, driving my car forward, striking me and the driver of the disabled vehicle. Fortunately, the driver of the SUV, as well as her passengers, were uninjured. Fortunately, the injuries to the driver of the disabled vehicle were relatively minor, and he was released after a night in the hospital. Unfortunately, my injuries were severe, the most serious of which was a spinal injury that will affect my mobility for the rest of my life, along with the loss of vision in my left eye from a serious head injury. The broken bones eventually healed, but the scars remain as a reminder of my club membership. What's tragic is that we don't get to decide if we want to join this club. Our families don't get to decide. Others do that for us. Motorists on our highways who disregard existing traffic laws, who only focus on what is important to them inside their own vehicles, are the membership committee. And whether any of us realize it or not, they are always actively recruiting. My life would have ended that day if not for the heroic deeds of so many first responders, doctors, nurses, and therapists. My story would take much longer to tell if I included all of the acts of kindness and brotherhood shown to me in the hours, days, months, and years that followed. After multiple surgeries, 55 days of hospitalization, and months of rehabilitation, I returned to my duties at the academy and continued to serve for another 14 months before retiring from the state police and beginning the next chapter of my life, which now includes activism for the message of highway safety. By sharing the lessons learned from my experience, I have the chance to make the highway safer for everyone. Although my time with the PSP is over, I believe that my oath to be of service has no expiration date. I'm here today to lend my voice to all of yours, to let everyone out there know that we matter, that our families matter, that our service demands the consideration of slowing down and moving over. Just because we've sworn to serve our communities doesn't mean that we signed up to be hurt, disrespected, or cast aside. Every public safety member, every responder is a citizen, has a name, has someone who cares about them, has the same rights to life, liberty, and happiness as anyone else. No one has the right to hurt others, with poor decisions. To public safety leadership, I challenge you to take time each day to consider what you can do to make the job safer for your people. Think about what you're asking each of them to do every day to hold to their oaths, and how those decisions could have lifetime impact, not only in their lives, but in the lives of all of the people who live in their homes. Strive to create the safest working environment possible for pedestrian roadway workers through regular training of traffic incident management, implementing policies that support that training, and the issue of all critical personal protective equipment, including an approved safety helmet, which is an item that is often overlooked. If your agency has a culture that pushes back against every new idea for safety training or equipment in the name of tradition, do your part to help change the culture. Never forget that service to others is best expressed in deeds more than words. Once again, I want to thank the folks at the FHWA for asking me to join you today. And for everyone out there, please stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Sergeant Bemis, for sharing your story. This must be a reminder to every responder and response agency of why we commemorate CRSW. When a responder is struck, it not only affects the responder and their family, it affects coworkers and the broader community. Let's take a moment to remember the responders who have lost their lives, those with life-altering injuries, and those that put themselves in harm's way every day to make travel safe for all road users. Okay, thank you. Now I'd like to introduce Chief John Letteney, who has recently been appointed as the president of the International Association of Chiefs of Police. I am privileged to know John. Our entire team at Federal Highway is privileged to work with John. He has been a tireless advocate, and he is currently the chief of police for the town of Thomasville, Georgia Police Department. In January 21, after retiring from North Carolina law enforcement, he served as the chief of police for the Southern Pines Police Department from 2005 to 2012, and the Apex, North Carolina Police Department from 2012 to 2021. During his 40-plus year law enforcement career, he served in patrol, investigations, training and accreditation, tactical operations, inspections, and administration. Over to you, Chief.
Good afternoon. Thanks very much, Jim. Hope everyone is doing well. Good afternoon. Thanks for having me. I'm honored to join here today to observe Crash Responder Safety Week and briefly discuss how we can lead by example under the umbrella of this year's theme of respecting our roadside heroes. We all know crashes and roadway incidents are major issues. With increased volume and emerging issues like higher speed limits, less courteousness, and more distracted drivers, the need to work safely, particularly during a roadway incident, is critical. This became even more evident in 2021 when, according to NHTSA, traffic fatalities rose at a record pace. From my first involvement in the executive leadership group many years ago, I've learned the importance of our collaboration on traffic incident management to develop practices and operations that would keep our roadway responders safe while addressing the myriad of issues that we face when responding to incidents on our highways. While I thought I had a good perspective about roadway safety, I found that my perspective was limited to my experience. And listening to our partner responders in public safety, public works, towing, and others, I developed a much better appreciation of the importance of collaborating to enhance safety. Because to me, it's always been about safety, safety for the motoring public, as well as our responders from so many disciplines. From a law enforcement view, whether responding to a crash, assisting a driver on the roadside, or conducting a law enforcement action, officers are open to being killed or injured by a moving vehicle. In 2021, 30 law enforcement officers died in the line of duty when they were struck by a vehicle while responding to a traffic incident. Too many other responders were struck as well, and we all need to take action to reduce these incidents. In the IACP's Unjamming Traffic, Driving Towards Safer, Quicker Clearance of Traffic Incidents report, we state that law enforcement agencies should foster collaboration with complementary agencies. And we note that traffic incidents are a community problem, and managing them requires a community approach. Law enforcement agencies' ability to ensure safe, quick clearance of traffic incidents therefore hinges on their ability to build collaborative partnerships with a diverse coalition of stakeholders that includes fire, EMS, local and state transportation officials, tow operators, and the motoring public. At the IACP, we are committed to responder safety and are proud to work with the Federal Highway Administration on Crash Responder Safety Week to improve the safety of all law enforcement and traffic incident responders. The IACP, along with the Federal Highway Administration, has worked diligently to raise awareness and train law enforcement on traffic incident management. Through our collaborative efforts, officers have been trained on TIM strategies of a well-coordinated, multidisciplinary approach to clear traffic incidents quickly, ultimately minimizing law enforcement's exposure to passing traffic. When law enforcement agencies and other roadway responders follow TIM principles, they increase their safety, but they also improve public safety, reduce the risk of secondary traffic incidents, and help get traffic moving again. Crash Responder Safety Week provides us with a platform to remind the motoring public about move over and quick clearance laws. While all 50 states have these laws, many drivers still do not move over or slow down when they see the flashing lights of an emergency or roadway response vehicle. This week is an excellent time for law enforcement and other leaders to remind drivers to slow down and move over when they see a roadway response vehicle. To help law enforcement agencies get the word out about Crash Responder Safety Week and implement TIM strategies, IACP created the Safe Quick Clearance of Traffic Incidents Toolkit. This toolkit provides law enforcement agencies with the resources they need to adopt traffic incident management principles in their communities. By implementing TIM principles, responder agencies will increase the safety of their staff and the public. To access this free resource and begin implementing safe, quick clearance and TIM principles at your agency, visit IACP's website. Like most aspects of traffic safety, awareness, engineering, education, and enforcement are the foundation. But the first step is to create the shared vision that all responders have a responsibility for scene safety, despite their different roles. Your awareness is the foundation for your personal safety and must always be in the forefront. And the best way to increase awareness is to attend TIM training. Building on that is collaboration with other highway responders and developing or enhancing relationships with your public safety agencies to discuss and practice aligned operational methods. So let me encourage all roadway responders to lead by example by participating in TIM training and requiring your employees to do the same. Their safety is important to us all, and your leadership can make a difference. We may never know the crash we prevent, but we know our efforts are preventing tragedies. Thank you for what you do every day to enhance safety for yourselves, your coworkers, and the community. Let me wrap up by saying thank you to the Federal Highway Administration for hosting Crash Responder Safety Week and continuing to raise awareness about traffic incident management and move over laws. Finally, thank you to all the incident responders who risk their lives to keep us all safe on the road. Let's do all we can to enhance safety and respect our roadside heroes. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. And thank you for all you do. We just can't say enough. Thank you. Next, I am pleased to introduce our next speaker, Mr. Joel Feldman. After his daughter Casey was killed by a distracted driver, Joel established enddistracteddriving.org. His organization develops science-based educational materials for students and adults. He has personally delivered 1,000 presentations. He is a Philadelphia lawyer and a recovering distracted driver. Welcome to you, Joel. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Jim, and thanks so much to FHWA for having me on and sharing this with all the other great folks who are here today. Let me just say when I start this out, when, I'm a personal injury lawyer in Philadelphia. I do a lot more traffic safety these days than lawyering, but we'd always look at our cases and look for a sympathetic plaintiff. Who is sympathetic? Who's the jury really going to like? And we've had cases with responders, whether it's tow operators, police, or EMS, and you guys are incredibly sympathetic. So I do focus groups informally with kids, and I ask them about first responders. I ask them about how they feel about it and all. And, I don't have time to talk about it now, but I'm optimistic that we can do something and leverage that respect that they have for you. And they have that respect because you're coming to help them out, that respect that they have for you, and figure out ways to get people to put their phones down. Next, please. So this is a picture of my daughter, Casey. Casey was killed by a distracted driver. She was a pedestrian in Ocean City, New Jersey, and a 58-year-old man made a choice to reach for his GPS. He took his eyes off the road. He ran through a stop sign and hit and killed Casey. Within weeks, my wife and I made a commitment to do everything we could to keep other young people safe from distracted driving. And as Jim said in the introduction, although I represent people who are in distracted driving crashes, I would drive distracted myself. There's a ton of hypocrisy when it comes to distracted driving. And we could talk for an hour about that, about how if we face that hypocrisy, we could do a really good job in reducing crashes. Next one, please. I'm going to talk about some of the resources we have available because we need your help. I mean, the governmental agencies, the national organizations, they're doing a lot with respect to distracted driving, but I don't think we can rely upon them to keep the public safe and to keep all of you guys safe. We all need to work on this, and we all need to work on this together. So I'm going to just talk about these in the hopes that I can get some of you to do some of these presentations or line those up for other folks in your community. Next one, please. So I've always believed that science was really important. So we have pre-presentation surveys, post-presentation surveys. We have researchers, we have child psychologists and other people help us put these things together. And we were very fortunate. We had NHTSA do a study using the pre and post-presentation surveys of our high school project. And, you think about it, oh, it's great they're going to do a survey, but until you get the results, you're wondering, gosh, am I helping the kids? Or am I screwing up worse? And thankfully, we helped. And you can see that these factors, the one that's not on there is really neat. I don't know why I didn't get that on there, but actually because kids were speaking up, telling mom and dad, talking to them about how they felt when they drove distracted, actual distracted driving by mom and dad and friends following seeing a presentation also went down. So I guess my pledge to you is this. If I can get you to go out there and do presentations or to line up presentations in your community for our speakers, we have speakers all across the country, I want you to know that you're using a presentation that works. That's my pledge to you. Next one. So it'll fit into anything. You can do it in a class, you can do it in assembly, adaptable, 40 to 75 minutes. If you got a PC, fine. If you got a Mac, we got that covered. We did a training video with ERSI, and we have that out there. More than 500,000 students have seen one version or another of this, and it's interactive, it's fun, and there's actually the slide notes are really a script. But with the training video, you can do this and you can have fun doing it. Next one, please. With respect to this, I just want to play this video and just have you think about your reactions to it. Couple of words. And again, in this day and age, drunk driving is not socially acceptable, right? But we're not there yet with distracted driving. How do we get there? How do we make distracted driving socially unacceptable? Yeah, click it another time if you would. Now, I show this to adults like you guys, but I also show it to kids. Click it one more time. The differences that we have from kids are starkly different from those from adults. I've shown this to maybe 10,000 adults at businesses and conferences. I've never, ever, ever had an adult say anything in the kid column. Again, we need to change that culture. We need to make distracted driving socially unacceptable. Are we going to be doing it by saying it's dangerous? I'd warrant that many of you on this webinar know that it's dangerous, but you've probably driven distracted yourselves, and most people have. I certainly did. Calling it dangerous, I don't know that's going to get us there. But if we can make it a selfish act, an irresponsible act, an inconsiderate act, or as is particularly appropriate for respecting our roadside heroes, for making it be disrespectful, I think we can get there. And I think the kids are on to something. Next one, please. So before you start this, we're always looking for new ways to reach people because, again, I think some people, if you talk to them about the dangers of distracted driving, they'll say, okay, I shouldn't do it. But I think for many, you're not going to get there that way. So just take a look at this new video that we just came out with. You can play this one now.
Thank you for telling me that. That was the police about the crash.
What did they say?
They said the guy that hit us ran the red light because he was texting.
So Tommy is dead because somebody was texting? I know you feel terrible about this, but we're lucky you weren't hurt worse.
The officer said there was nothing I could have done, but he's wrong.
What do you mean?
I wasn't looking at the road when he hit us. I was looking at my phone.
But you had the green light.
Don't you get it? If I was looking at the road, I would have seen the truck and Tommy would have... Tommy.
Wanting to keep ourselves safe and the people that we care about safe is a big motivator for putting our phones down, a big motivator. And so distracted drivers can't be defensive drivers. And we're finding that people will say, oh, I haven't been in a crash, I can handle it. But yeah, well, what about all the other idiots out there driving, looking at their phones? So we're hopeful and optimistic that this will help us move the needle a little bit more. We also have elementary school lesson plans. Generally, the teachers do this, not outside volunteers, but we need to get them into schools. We have a second and third, a fourth and fifth grade, 30 minutes. There's a recorded version, but often the teachers want to do it themselves, and we make it easy for them to do so. Let's go to the next slide and just play one of the videos so you can just see a piece of it.
So, how are your teachers?
Oh, I love Mr. Burke and Mrs. Smith. Mrs. Smith is the nicest person.
Uh-oh. What's this? Mom's phone is a distraction, and distractions make it dangerous.
My teachers right now, they're pretty amazing. We're not getting much homework. Mom! Mom, you're not driving safely.
How about we try that again?
Mom, it scares me when you're driving and looking at your phone at the same time.
What comes next?
Maybe I should send that text for you, Mom.
Or I can. Can I, please? Or can I add an emoji at least?
Sorry, guys, you're right. I should really be watching the road.
I'll text him that you call him when we get to the store.
Can we get chips?
That's how you stay safe with Sam.
So you can go to the next slide. So before I get to the picture book, what you saw in there was what the kid spoke up and said, "Mom, you're not driving safely." People don't like to be told that. And that's the classic use of what people call a you statement versus an I statement. You're going to cause a crash. You're not driving safely. We get defensive. I statements just tell people how we feel. And our kids are actually taught this in middle school. They're taught the difference between you statements and I statements. I don't feel safe. So we're teaching kids that. We're teaching kids as young as K through 2, and you'll see that in this next picture book I show up. We're teaching them to say things to mom and dad like, "Mom, I love you, but I don't feel safe when you drive me and look at your phone." I focused that with 120 parents, and I'm going to tell you something. It's powerful. It's powerful when a little kid tells mom or dad that what mom or dad is doing is not making them feel safe. So this is the K through 2 picture book. It was created by actually a friend of my daughter's who's a Philadelphia school teacher, and her husband illustrated it. It's what we call an early intervention book to teach kids about distracted driving. It's our belief, just like cigarette smoking, and now unfortunately vaping, you can talk to kids at an early age. And once they get it in their heads, I mean, we're sicking them on moms and dads because you think about it. Kids are so susceptible to distracted driving. They're the most inexperienced of drivers. They're addicted to their phones, and they see mom and dad driving distracted. Mom and dad are driving distracted. And, you know, many moms and dads tell their kids, "Hey, don't drive distracted, don't drive distracted." Tell their teen kids that. But just think about it. How effective is that critical safety message going to be when it's so tainted with hypocrisy? So we have to do more for our kids. We have to start earlier. Go to the next one, if you would. Next page. It's kind of a Dr. Seuss-y kind of thing. You know, and you could probably read that. We actually had this, and we had responders here. I was working with Cumberland Valley volunteer firefighters and ERC and others. And after we came out with this, some tow operators and some construction workers said, "Hey, can you add a piece about us?" So that's in the works. We should have that done over the next couple of weeks and have these books out here. We also have programs with different states. We're trying to get high school kids to go into K through 2 and read the book to the kids. Now, why do we want to do that? Well, little kids look up to older kids. Again, we want to teach them earlier, but we also want the older kids. And if you teach something, you learn it. And they're more likely not to drive distracted themselves if they're teaching little kids that. Just go to the next page, if you would. And again, and we also talk about the move over laws in there. We want kids to learn about it at an early age. So go to the next one. We have resources. Everything we have is free. As I said before, if you want to do the presentation, we've got training videos. I'll walk you through it. Or if you say, "Well, I'm not so sure if I want to," you just line it up with the school. I've got speakers all across the country. We'll get a speaker to come in for free. Next slide. And then just the elementary school lesson plans and supportive materials as well. As I said, the ERC Train the Trainer. And let me see, I think there might be one more slide. Okay. All right, then you can click out of the PowerPoint then. So I appreciate the opportunity to be here. Thank you so much for having me here. And we can do this. We can do this, but we have to go out and we have to train people. And training people, the public, we cut down on the calls and we keep you guys safe. And that's what we want to do. Thank you all so very, very much. I appreciate the opportunity.
And we thank you, Joel. We put many of the resources links in the chat pod. Please download these resources, reach out to your local schools and help create a youth that exercises alert driving. I'm also glad you mentioned the Emergency Responder Safety Institute, which are great partners with Federal Highway Administration and also on the executive leadership group for all the different training modules that are there, including the National TIM Training Certificate. With that, oh, and by the way, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you all. We thank you all so much. We still have quite a few participants here today, over 160 of you. So thank you for sticking with us. This is so important. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to my teammate, Joe Tebow, who is a member of the Federal Highways TIM program. Joe is a former paramedic and rescue specialist that has served for over 40 years as a volunteer firefighter. Mr. Tebow is currently supporting multiple TIM initiatives and will speak briefly about Next Generation TIM. And I can tell you that Paul Joden and I really cherish Joe Tebow's contribution to TIM and our program. So with that, Joe, take it away.
Thank you, Jim. I'll have that $20 I owe to you tomorrow. Thanks
Okay.
for this comments. Greetings, everyone. Wow, you know, high impact stuff here today, and you can get a feel for just how involved everyone is, and Joel's message about, you know, getting in with the youth and starting them so young. And I mean, that's the future, you know, that's going to get us where we want to be, but we got a long road to hoe to get there. So let me talk about Next Gen TIM. You know, it's an Everyday Counts 6 initiative. We launched it about 2 years ago, and selected the strategies you know that were chosen by different states participating. And these are some of the things here that you can see that well, as we addressed them, like local TIM practices, you know, we learned a lot. We got to see the innovations and the creativity of adjusting TIM and utilizing TIM in the local communities and off the expressways and down into the arterials and local roads. So, you know, we continue to do that. And it's important to say that, you know, Next Gen TIM didn't just end when Everyday Counts 6, you know, it has run its 2-year span. You know, we're gearing up, hopefully EDC 7, you know, we'll continue on with the technological strategies that you see listed here. Unmanned aircraft systems, you know, tethered and free flying, what we've learned about them, and that technology that we're chasing, because as soon as you think you got there, you know, something new and improved has come along. And we've seen some of the agencies out there that are so creative in their use of the UAS systems. Everything from monitoring a queue to just incident command, getting a scene view, to some police agencies even using unmanned aerial systems as first responders, you know, to get eyes in the sky and do recon before any human responder even gets to the scene. You know, so we're continuing on with that technology. And responder to vehicle alerts, you know, that technology again is, you know, taking off. And when you can activate a switch in your cab, or it automatically activates when your emergency scene lighting comes on, that sends out, you know, a signal to other vehicles approaching within a geofence type of area, that you know, they get the message in their vehicle as they're traveling. You know, and we'll see that a slide for that in just a second. But you know, that gives them that heads up alert to either slow down, move over, or maybe even get off at the next exit and avoid it altogether. So, you know, responder to vehicle alerts, that technology is just incredible, and it's pushing forward, and we're going to push with it. The video sharing, you know, we took a look at all the video sharing, whether it's a fixed system, whether it's a mobile system, or whether it's a portable system, you know, that to be able to get eyes on the scene, and not just the scene, but the queue also is an incredible benefit to responders and to, you know, the traffic management centers, the DOTs, you know, to be able to manage the situation, and hopefully you even, be able to set up detours and minimize the exposure. CAD integration, another technology that's pushing forward, and it has a lot more tentacles to it than some of the others, but it's still moving forward. And then there's the crowdsourced TIM data, where collecting that data is improving traffic flow and the other types of strategies and tactics involved in managing the scene. So next. Yeah, I was talking about the responder to vehicle alerts, and here's just a little screenshot of a medic, police officer on the scene, maybe one or two others, and the signals being sent out. And as you see to the right, to the yellow arrow there, that geofence sends that signal out. Emergency vehicle stopped ahead, or car stopped ahead, right shoulder, left shoulder, whatever the case may be. And that's a great heads up, provided that folks are paying attention, once again, that there's something up ahead and they can maybe avoid it or just slow down and prepare for it. Some of this technology can be adjusted on the fly. Some of it is activated by a communication center rather than the independent unit. The technology is just booming, and with the onset of vehicles these days, most of them come out, roll right off of the assembly line with some type of interactive type of Waze or Haas, or some type of Haas system, that it's already preloaded. And for me, it was my grandson that, got me educated on it and said, "Oh, hey, Pop, look, it'll also do this," right? Because the youngsters, they're right on top of the technology scenario. So, and as Joel was talking earlier, the getting the youth, it immediately took me back to, punch buggies. Where the kids in the car, they spotted a Volkswagen Bug, they'd start punching on each other. Well, if we can get them, to see lights up ahead, emergency lights up ahead, to scream out, slow down, move over, man, what a leap forward that would be. So the technologies that are out there and the methods and strategies and tactics are just incredible. I mean, you folks are amazing in the things that you do. Next slide. Talked a little bit about video sharing, and it's kind of I don't know if it was an omen or what, but way early this morning around 6 a.m. got an alert that there was an overturned propane tanker on US 50 westbound over on the Severn River Bridge, over the Severn River here in Maryland. And for those who aren't familiar with the area, when you're on that Severn River Bridge, if you're heading east, if you look just to the right, that's US Naval Academy. So this was a fully loaded tanker truck of propane that flipped over in the middle of the bridge. And me being the squirrel that I am, I immediately went to the MDOT cameras, because I know there's one there, and brought it up on the screen, and I had a perfect view of this tanker truck sitting on the bridge. So did the TMC, right? And so did the chart response vehicles and all. So they were able to get this plan together. And fortunately, it was a lot of work for the crews, but there were no fire, the injuries I'm unsure of, but that's the technology that's out there that, at the click of a mouse, someone somewhere may be able to see that scene and start the right equipment, the right routes at the right time, whether it's mobile. And there are mobiles out there that we've learned about some of the amazingly creative systems that are out there. This picture here, courtesy of Maryland Department of Transportation, and that upper left block, pop-out block, you can see the pan tilt zoom camera mounted up there. That's controlled by the TMC. I believe some of them can be controlled by the operator themselves, but it's not just for the scene and incident command. from a DOT standpoint, they can take a look at maybe there's guardrail tore up or a Jersey barrier that's been demolished or something else that they can initiate maintenance activities right away, and the scene hasn't even cleared yet. So, you know, the video sharing technology that's out there, we're chasing that technology, and I know you all are too. It's incredible stuff. So technology for life-saving, we're going to continue on with this and look at other items that we've been introduced to, and we'll keep you all abreast of them as we push forward. So, you know, technology is the theme moving forward. And thanks to everyone for everything you do out there. Keep your head on a swivel because they're out there and they're coming for you. Like Bob Bemis said, don't be a member of that club. So with that, Jim, I think I kick it back to you.
Yes, sir, Joe. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Great. No, thank you. Great presentation. Just so much going on. So FHWA hopes to continue promoting life-saving technologies for incident responder and roadway safety well beyond Crash Responder Safety Week. And as Joe likes to say, together we're saving lives, ladies and gentlemen. So before we end today's webinar, and we apologize, we were a little behind, but I want to thank Mark Curley, our boss, who's the office director for the Office of Operations, Martin Knopp, our associate administrator, the National Planning Committee for CRSW, Chief John Letteney, Bob Bemis, retired from Pennsylvania State Police, and Joel Feldman, and all our other speakers and presenters. We deeply, cherish the relationships and our partnerships together. CRSW is a priority among states across our nation, as evidenced by governors each delivering their own CRSW proclamations. I think we were up to 18 this year, and FHWA has also prepared a National CRSW Proclamation Signing. So CRSW is a priority among modal administrations, including FHWA, NHTSA, and FMCSA. Our administrators have signed the National CRSW Proclamation and invited ELG members associations to also sign the proclamation. So now I am pleased to play the National Proclamation signing video and then invite each and every one of you to sign the proclamation. Stand by. By the way, the proclamation will remain open for signing for the rest of the day as well. So we still have 142 participants here today and possibly others joining. So Adam, do you need me to do anything?
Nope, we're bringing it up in just a moment.
Thank you. And by the way, while it's coming up, I want to thank Adam Hops from the National Operations Center of Excellence and the entire team at NOCO for supporting this CRSW webinar, as well as Talking Tim webinars and many other webinars in between. The NOCO is a great partner, and I'd like to give a special shout out to Vishali Shah with AEM Corporation. AEM Corporation. Vishali is our contractor and has done an extraordinary job, as always, putting this webinar together. And of course, my two teammates, Paul Joden and Joe Tebow, and all of you for all you do. So Vishali, do you want to jump in here and then talk to these slides here?
Happy to do so. So we just welcome you to click on the link that was shared in the chat pod and go ahead and add your name to the proclamation. So I want to say one of the first folks to sign it was, oh gosh, we've passed it. Terry Thompson, we see Glenn Fulton from Atkins Global, Tom Murphy from New Jersey DOT, Cindy Martineau from TRAA. So as more of you come, you'll see your name come up. We will be leaving this open for the remainder of today and potentially even for part of tomorrow. So please share this link. You can use menti.com or you can use the link that's on the chat. We'd love to get every responder to sign this proclamation. But if not every responder, then definitely every responder that is a part of your organization. So with that, I'll turn it over to Jim to close out today's webinar.
Thank you, Vishali. And again, a big thank you to our audience, all our presenters, the National Operations Center of Excellence. And let's remember what we're doing as being something that is so important for our fellow responders, their families, all of us, and all road users, you know, responders, motorists, bicyclists, pedestrians, you name it.
And for those of you that have
Air service to ensure that everyone goes home. So with that, again, we thank you and stay safe out there and keep signing that proclamation.
And for those of you that have a governor's proclamation in your state, please do share it with Jim Ostrich. We've gotten a few already and we hope to get many more. MassDOT, Brian, welcome. Chief Quinn, MEFC. Keith Scully, Bordertown Fire Department.
Vishali, can I jump in for a second?
Yes, please.
I'd like to take a minute to thank Jim and Paul for all the hard work that they've done. Tremendous amount of work, and you, Vishali. The amount of work, amount of effort that goes into pulling this off is incredible, and you folks did a fantastic job. So well done. Hats off.
Yeah, I agree, Joe. That's Paul. We don't get the opportunity too often to thank Jim for a lot of his tremendous efforts in CRSW and other things, but big deal when Jim gets involved and he does it right. And of course, Vishali would be a sinking ship without Vishali, I think. So good thoughts, Joe. I second the motion.
It's a great team effort, all of you.